Good afternoon. This is Louis Llanes. I'm the founder of Wealth Net Investments. We are fiduciary investment advisors. And today I wanted to answer a question that I've been hearing a lot, and it has to do with technology. A lot of people are online all the time and they see all these different technologies and widgets and things that you can use to create financial planning or financial tracking and ways for you to keep track of your personal finances. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are available and what I have found to be the most effective for most people. So if you are the type of person that uses, say you use TurboTax and you do your taxes with TurboTax and you find that to be easy and your situation is not that complicated, you probably may be in a situation where you might be able to do some financial planning on your own because your situation is pretty simple. But I found out that that's a lot less people than I thought there would be, because there's so many different complexities that are out there when you have to deal with financial planning or looking at your own personal finances, that you're not going to get from these off the shelf financial planning tools like Mint, for example. So I want to tell you a little bit about what to look for in financial tracking software, financial planning software. When you're using financial planning software, there's some important capabilities that you really want to look out for. Here's what I consider the most important capabilities that the software should do for you. First, the software should have a comprehensive fact-finding database that can help you keep track of your financial priorities, your goals, your net worth, your income, and your expenses, and all the details that are surrounding that. The software should also be able to estimate your taxes based on the current tax rules. So it should be able to take your information and estimate what the taxes are going to look like, and be flexible enough to make changes to any assumptions now and in the future that you might have. Assumptions meaning like changes in the tax rates, or changes in investment returns, changes in inflation, things like that. The software really needs to be flexible to keep track of all of your savings and your contributions. So, how much are you putting into your retirement accounts and your other accounts every month, every week from your paycheck, or whatever that may be, as well as what does your employer contribute. And it should be able to calculate the maximums and things like that. So that's really important that the software does that. And it should provide you with a detailed analysis of your investments and how they're allocated in all your accounts. And it should give you the details about how they're invested, what kind of assets they're involved with. And it should also keep track of all your insurance or any protection that you have for your finances. So those are kind of some of the basic things with regard to what it should keep track of. Now, the second thing that I wanted to mention was that the financial software that you use should be able to make extensive calculations, and it should be integrated across your entire financial picture. A lot of these tools that you see, they just will look at just your 401k or just your brokerage account, or one account at a time. You see that with many of the brokerage firms, or at your 401k provider at your company. What you want to look out for is you want to have software that can go across all your assets, all your bank accounts, everything, your credit cards, your house, if you own businesses, things like that. And it should be able to look at your goals and forecast your finances. And it should have at least two methods to do that. One would be a goals-based method. Goals-based method. That's a mouthful. Basically, what that is that's isolating a single goal and then calculating what that looks like given what you're doing and how much you should save or are saving now. And then the other way should be a cash flow based. So it should be going year by year, forecasting your cash flows and your taxes and everything else, and then forecasting what you look like from there. So those are the kind of things that you want to make sure that you have the capabilities. Otherwise, you're not going to get an accurate picture about what's really happening. So at times, you're going to need both methods. You might need just the goals-based method at one time, or you might need the cash flow method. It just depends on what your situation is. So the third thing I wanted to mention, what these software programs should do is it should have an engine that can create scenarios like what if analysis to say, okay, for example, what happens if I sell my home and I retire early, or I sell some stock from my company? Things like that. It should be able to solve different ways for you to reach your goals, such as retirement or funding your children's education or leaving an inheritance for your family, things like that. So it's got to have that flexibility to create scenarios, and you should be able to compare them to see which one is better for you, what gives you the better outcome. Most of the best software programs out there, they're really not available to individuals, but they should have Monte Carlo simulations. They should have the capability that will allow you to do what's called stress testing to make sure that how would your financial situation do if times are good or if times are bad. It should be able to give you a feeling so that you can be bulletproof and really shoot to be bulletproof even if the economy is bad for quite some time. And it should be able to handle all the different kind of investments and assets that you own, like if you have stock options or things at work or restricted stock, or if you own businesses or real estate, anything that's a little bit out of the box, the software should be able to track those accurately. So the fourth thing I wanted to mention was that a good financial tracking or financial planning software program should give you a wide variety of reports that are that you can look at to track your information to make sure you're tracking. And they should also have like a vault, like where you can put documents and you can store your documents. The reports really should be clear, so you can really see what the year by year information is, and you should be able to see your projections or worksheets and schedules that will keep you really in line so that you can be in a situation where you can track and make sure the data is right. The reports can help you track that progress and really make adjustments over time. Really, that's the whole purpose of it. And I know it sounds like a lot, because it is a lot, because if you really want to have accurate financial tracking, you really need good financial planning software. So the fifth thing is that the software should have that vault that's secure to store those documents in a central location. This can be a major thing, because a lot of times one of the biggest problems we find people have is that maybe they're meeting with their CPA or their attorney or an insurance agent or something like that, and they need to get certain documents, and it's like it takes them a long time to find it, or where is it? When you get organized and you put it all into your vault, it's really nice because you can always go back there and grab information at your fingertips. So lastly, a good financial planning piece of software should have excellent account aggregation or data aggregation capabilities. And what does that mean? Well, data aggregation is a technology that links all of your accounts to your financial planning software. This allows your software to automatically update your values for each one of your accounts, and the data provided by your banks or your investment firms, your retirement at work, your credit cards, your mortgages, things like that, all those could be automatically updated. This is a big benefit because this will have your data always updated in terms of values, and it will keep you having to spend a lot of time doing manual data entry. So, and now the best financial planning software has changed many times over the years. As of right now, the highest rated financial planning software programs are really all used by top financial advisors. And I'm going to explain why, because, and I'll get more into that. But the top ones right now are eMoney, MoneyGuide Pro, Navaplan, and MoneyTree. Those tend to be the top ones with the best ratings and the best capabilities. And let me talk a little bit about why the best ones tend to not be available to the public. And they're really, have CFAs, CFPs, or CPAs using them. And it has to do with what's called garbage in, garbage out. You probably have heard of that before, and I would caution you about using financial planning software, because the software is really only as good as the knowledge of the user. So if you put in wrong information, the answers are going to be wrong. And the best financial planning software perform really complex calculations. And in the financial planning field, in the financial analysis field, it's pretty darn intricate. What's the word? Intricate. The user, they really need to know what they're doing. If the user doesn't completely understand how the calculations are being made, where the data is being pulled from, the forecasts can be wrong. And the users really need to know how to validate the calculations prior to using them for decision making. And if you're making big decisions, it's important that it's done right. So this really goes for all financial analysis. Garbage in leads to garbage out, right? So the proper use of a financial planning tool I have found generally takes education and skill. If you have anything that's even a little bit more complicated than the very, very basic. When you're first, again, it's like kind of like TurboTax. When you're first starting out, TurboTax is fine. You just have a W-2, you enter it in. You don't have anything really crazy that you have to deal with. But as you have more stuff, the harder it gets and the more costly a mistake can be. So my experience has been that it usually takes somebody who's already educated in finance, somebody who's credentialed, like they have a CPA or CFP or a CFA. It usually takes somebody about 2 years to be fully functional and able to independently create accurate financial plans. I know that sounds crazy, but that is true. Even if they have the credentials, have degrees in finances or MBAs and a CFP, it takes a couple years to be able to do it, to be able to actually do it well, at least. So that's something to keep in mind. And so once you kind of drill down all of that, really the logical conclusion is that for many people, it's probably better if you have a financial advisor, somebody that really knows and is as experienced and has a track record of helping people meet goals for a long period of time. I caution people to even with TurboTax, for example, to be careful with that. I've seen a lot of problems with that. So these principles apply the same way as it does to your taxes or to the financial field. It's more complicated. The more complicated your situation, the more advantageous it is for you to hire a credentialed and experienced financial advisor to help you navigate your financial planning tools. And then they should have the ability to share those tools with you, and you could interact with it as well, so that you can constantly be on your game and really interacting with it. So that's all I have for now. This is a topic that is very important, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. You can go to our website at wealthnetinvest.com, like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.